Okay, if I could just call this special council meeting to order on November 5th, 2025 at 5 p.m. And we'll start with the territorial acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge with respect the history and living culture of the Anishinaabeg, the people of the Three Fires known as Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi Nation, who have inhabited this land from time immemorial. We recognize that these lands are the territories of the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, collectively known as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, the keepers of this land. Georgian Bluffs is located on lands encompassed by Treaties 45.5, 67, 72, 82, and 93. We reflect on our role as treaty people and for the need to live in respect and peace and show respect to the First Peoples who inhabit these lands and waters. Moving on to approval of the agenda, we're going to add Remembrance Day attendance discussions later in the meeting. So the recommendation is that the agenda be approved as amended. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Coburn, Councillor Schuldeis. Is there any discussion? I guess I forgot to ask if anyone else had anything to add. Seeing nothing, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is clear. Does any member wish to make a declaration of pecuniary interest this evening? Seeing none, you may declare at any time throughout the meeting if one should arise. We have a public hearing tonight, zoning bylaw amendment Z0925 for 017111 Grey Bruce Line. The recommendation is that the special meeting be recessed to hold a public hearing for zoning bylaw application Z0925 for 017111 Grey Bruce Line. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Winters. Is there any discussion? We'll call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. So this meeting has been called to consider zoning bylaw amendment application Z0925 for property legally described as Concession 12 North Part Lot 2. Madam Clerk, please advise the method by which notice of this public meeting was given.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Notice of this public meeting was given by ordinary mail to all property owners within 120 meters, 400 feet of the subject property, by email to all the prescribed bodies on September 16, 2025, posted at the subject property and posted on the Township of Georgian Bluffs website. The person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Georgian Bluffs before the proposed zoning bylaw is adopted or passed. The person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Township of Georgian Bluffs to the local planning appeal tribunal. The person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body as a party.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Planner, please proceed with your review of the application.
Thank you, and through you, the chair. So staff note that the subject property had previously gone before the Committee of Adjustment as application B1425, in which to sever approximately a 1.24 hectare parcel of land containing a dwelling and accessory structures from the existing 40.91 hectare agricultural property as a surplus farm dwelling severance. So 39.67 hectares is retained for continued agricultural use, and that severance has been approved, subject to the applicable conditions. So one of the applicable conditions is what brought us here tonight, and is the purpose of application Z0925, which is in front of the council today, proposes to reduce the minimum lot area requirement for the agricultural lot in the agricultural zone as it applies to the retained parcel from 40 hectares to 39.6 hectares, and apply a no dwelling clause to this parcel, as well as to reduce the minimum requirement of a lot area of 40 hectares in the agricultural zone to the severed parcel to permit a lot size of 1.2 hectares, and increase the maximum lot coverage of the severed parcel in the agricultural zone as it applies to severed parcel from 1% to 10% for the accessory buildings, and from 10% to 14% for all buildings on the lot. No changes are proposed to the environmental protection zone on the property, and no other relief to the bylaw has been requested at this time. So staff are of the opinion that the proposed zoning bylaw amendment to facilitate the site-specific agricultural zone maintains the intent of the Provincial Planning Statement 2024, the County of Grey Official Plan, the Township of Georgian Bluff Zoning Bylaw 2020, to facilitate that farm surplus severance. With regards to relevant consultation pertaining to this application, notice of the severance was issued on September 16th, 2025, and the following comments have been received to date. So we've received comments from the County of Grey Planning and Development Services Department on October 3rd, indicating that provided that Georgian Bluff staff are satisfied with the justification that it addresses criteria in section 5.2.31B, and that the County of Grey's transportation services comments are addressed. Planning staff have no concerns with regards to this proposal. And just to note, the County of Grey's transportation staff was just looking to have the farm parts entrance 100 meters from the existing entrance on Grey Bruce Line. And the applicant has demonstrated they have no concerns with that condition. Additionally, we did receive comments from Saugeen Ojibwe Nation dated May 14th, 2025, indicating that SON does not require an assessment of Miss Van Loo's property. Hydro One did provide comments on October 2nd, dated 2025, noting that they are in receipt of the applications and have no comments or concerns at this time. GEI provided comments on September 17th, 2025, noting that the property is within the drainage area of a municipal drain, specifically the Webb Municipal Drain. Should the landowner wish to continue with severing their lot, a condition of approval that was issued with the consent that was brought forward the Committee of Adjustment be implemented in order to create that proposed severance through a Section 65 report. And then lastly, Grey Stauble Conservation Authority provided comments stating October 7th, 2025, indicating that GSCA has no objections to proposed consent and zoning bylaw amendment applications, as it is not anticipated that any areas regulated by Ontario Regulation 4124 or natural heritage or hazard features, are going to be impacted as a result of these applications. And then these are the extent of the comments received thus far. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will just look to the clerk. I have that no members of the public registered with the clerk to provide comments in support of or in opposition to the application.
For you, Madam Chair, that is correct. The agent for the applicant, Ron Davidson, is online.
Okay, I will reach out to you, Mr. Davidson. Do you have any comments that you would like to make at this time?
Yes, good evening, Madam Chair. First of all, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Oh, perfect. Yes. So my name is Ron Davidson. I'm a planning consultant. I will be incredibly quick with this because Ben did a good job in explaining the proposal. I represent Liz Van Loo, who owns the property. She's a bona fide farmer. She owns other properties, and the house on this property is surplus to her needs. The county official plan and the provincial planning statement do give consideration to this type of lot creation on prime agricultural lands, if you check all the boxes. And Liz does that. She is a bona fide farmer. She does own other properties, and the house is surplus to her needs. The only thing I'll say at this point, I guess, is Ben mentioned a couple of conditions, one dealing with the county highways department with regard to an entrance permit. We've already got that ball rolling. And he also mentioned that there's a municipal drain and there's a small process that we have to go through at Liz's expense. And we've already got that ball rolling as well with the township's engineer. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you. And I will turn to council. Does anyone on council have questions regarding the proposed application? Seeing none, I will now call for a vote on the motion on the decision. It has been demonstrated that application Z0925 for Elizabeth Van Loo and the estate of Cornelius Van Loo, which proposes to rezone the lands to a site-specific zone under the Ag Zone to prohibit the future construction of a new residential dwelling of any type on the retained lands, as well as to reduce the minimum lot area requirement of an agricultural lot in the Ag Zone as it applies to the retained parcel from 40 hectares, 39.6 hectares, and reduce the minimum lot area requirement of a residential lot in the Ag Zone as it applies to the severed parcel from 40 hectares to 1.2 hectares, and increase the maximum lot coverage of the Ag Zone as it applies to the severed parcel from 1% to 10% for the accessory buildings and from 10% to 14% for all buildings, is consistent with the Ontario Planning Act, the Provincial Planning Statement 2024, the Grey County Official Plan, and the general intent and nature of the Township of Georgian Bluffs zoning bylaw. Subject to a receipt of commenting agency comments and the review of comments arising at the public meeting, it is recommended that application Z0925 be approved and the amending bylaw be forwarded to a future council meeting for adoption. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Winters, is there any discussion? I will call the vote. All in favor? I now call for an adjournment of this hearing. Could I have, and the recommendation is that the public hearing be adjourned and the special meeting be resumed at 5:11 p.m. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Coburn, Councillor Day, is there any discussion? All in favor? That is carried. This public meeting is now adjourned. We are back to new business on our special council meeting. So Remembrance Day. Invoices and invitations have been received for Owen Sound, Terra, and Wyerton Legions. I have this evening reached out to Chatsworth and Shallow Lake Hepworth to see if we can get some contact information there. But at this point, we'll be looking at who is able to walk in which parades or represent the township at which areas. Councillor Scholz?
Jim Cobb messaged me personally about going out to Shallow Lake and Hepworth. So I'd happily go back there if there's no instance. More than happy to represent Ryan.
So we normally would have received an invoice from them. Do you want to just mention to Jim
Yeah, I
that
can-
staff aren't aware of getting an invoice yet? So
Yeah.
an invoice, because we pay for the wreath each year. We sponsor them through the wreath.
Yeah, I'll message.
So that has happened for Owen Sound, Terra, and Wyerton, but it hadn't happened for Shallow Lake, Hepworth,
Yeah.
and hasn't happened for Chatsworth either, but I've checked my email to see if I've got a
I'll
response.
message Jim.
Okay, thank you. So that leaves, I've been invited for Owen Sound, so I can cover that one.
I will have to decline again this year. It's on the weekday, so
So you're
my
in
other
school
job will
teaching.
be.
Yes,
I will decline as well. I have
okay,
commitments.
okay.
I
Councillor Coburn?
have to decline because I have a medical appointment out of town, so I apologize.
Do you need me to go somewhere? I'll go where we need to go.
Terra or Wyerton at this point?
We can go to Tara.
Okay. Is anybody in staff able to do Wyerton? Because we've had staff cover for us before as well.
Madam Mayor, I'm happy to attend. If other people want the opportunity though, I'm happy to defer to other people, but honored to attend if that is the pleasure of council.
Okay, so the only one then kind of outstanding would be Chatsworth, so if I hear from them, I may be reaching back out later to,
And the part with Chatsworth, we just show up there now just to be present and they just announce us anyway. So it's not, you don't have to feel like you have to walk down the walkway or anything like that. You just be present.
right, okay. So we may be fine with that one anyway, okay. Do we need a motion to that effect? So I will turn to you for that motion.
Thank you, Mayor Carlton, to review. The motion could simply read that the following attendance at Remembrance Day ceremonies be approved. 1, Shallow Lake Hepworth, Councillor Isaac Schuldice. 2, Owen Sound, Mayor Sue Carlton. 3, Terra, Deputy Mayor Grant Pringle. And 4, Wyerton, CAO Ryan Thompson. And I will leave Chatsworth to be determined at a future time.
Okay, thank you. So can I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor Schuldice, Deputy Mayor Pringle, any further discussion? All in favor, I will call the vote. Thank you. Okay, bylaws. So, EJ, this is where we get to you. So the recommendation is that bylaw 2025-069, being a bylaw to appoint EJ McComb to the office of councillor for the Township of Georgian Bluffs, further to section 263 of the Municipal Act, SO 2001 C25, as amended, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Coburn, Councillor Day. Is there any discussion? All in favor? That is carried. Before we do the administration of oath of office, as we begin tonight's appointment proceedings, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the important addition that's being made to our council table. Tonight, we will officially welcome EJ McComb as the newest member of Georgian Bluffs Council. Mr. McComb is being appointed to fill the vacant seat following Ryan Thompson's transition to his new role as Chief Administrative Officer. I want to thank Ryan once again for his dedicated service and look forward to continuing to work with him in this new capacity. EJ is a longtime resident of Georgian Bluffs with extensive leadership experience in both the private and public sectors. He's a dedicated community volunteer, and I know his mix of professional and community experience will be a valuable addition to this council. I also want to express my sincere appreciation to all 15 community members who stepped forward through the public application process. Council was impressed by the caliber and dedication of all the candidates. Your commitment to Georgian Bluffs is truly commendable. Further to the appointment of EJ McComb to the office of councillor at the special council meeting on October 15th, 2025, and appointing bylaw 2025-069, I will now invite our clerk to perform the swearing in.
Okay, so we're going to perform the declaration of office. So would you put your hand up just like this and repeat after me? I, EJ McComb, having been appointed to the office of councillor
I, E.J. McComb, who has been appointed to the office of councillor
in the Township of Georgian Bluffs, do solemnly promise and declare that
in the Township of Georgian Bluffs, do solemnly promise and, and
declare
that
that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability.
I will truly,
That's a lot.
Yeah.
will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. Sorry.
I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner.
I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or otherwise improper manner.
I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act.
I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, 1990.
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles, His Majesty King Charles.
The third. Yeah. Well, I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III.
And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if it was made under oath.
And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Thank you. I apologize for the lengthiness. It's prescribed by the municipal law, so I don't get to pick the wording, unfortunately.
Great, no problem.
So I'll just get you to sign here.
Yep. Okay.
So, before you take off there, EJ, on behalf of council and the township, welcome. We look forward to working with you in the months ahead as we continue to make progress on the priorities that matter to our residents. We are pleased to invite you to take your designated seat as an official member of council. And there will be a nameplate coming that will be in front here, so. So now you can vote with the rest of us on the confirming bylaw. So the next recommendation is for the confirming bylaw. That bylaw number 2025-70, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of special council on November 5th, 2025, be read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor McComb and Councillor Day. Is there any discussion? I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Date of the next regular meeting is November 12th at 5 p.m. The recommendation now is that the meeting be adjourned at 5:20 p.m. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Coburn. Is there any discussion? I will call the vote. All in favor? Did you have a comment on?
I just thought maybe we should throw the opportunity to Councillor
McComb.
to extend the opportunity for him to attend any sort of Remembrance Day.
Yeah,
so I think
for
that's
sure.
really awkward.
Yeah, I can handle Wyerton or Chatsworth. Yeah, not-
Okay.
Now that you're here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I couldn't say anything back.
No, you couldn't. If you're okay with Wyerton, then EJ could be representing us at Chatsworth.
Either or. I was gonna say, I'm happy to defer to you if other people wanted to do that. So I'm happy for you to attend Wyerton or Chatsworth,
Okay.
and, or if someone else wants to go Chatsworth, that's fine. I'm happy to fill in the gap as needed.
That's right. And Chatsworth hasn't contacted us yet anyways, right?
No, I'm waiting to hear, Terry McKay should be able to give me a contact information out there. And I see the clerk looking at us like she'd like to change that motion now, right?
Mhm.
After we've adjourned.
Sorry.
I
Did
didn't vote
you have a
yet.
preference, Ryan? Would you rather do Wyerton because it's
Nope.
close to home or?
Nope, I would prefer to leave it to you to make your choice, and I'll fill in after that. So
Okay.
if we're not sure about Chatsworth,
Yeah.
I'm offering as a suggestion, maybe it's a good idea.
That's right.
To Wyerton and then.
Yeah.
You'll find it to carry every.
Yeah,
vehicle
for sure.
part of
Yeah,
it.
okay, it's a nice opportunity.
Sounds good. So Wyerton it is.
I'm just looking to see if I have heard back. No, I haven't heard anything back yet, so, okay. We will leave it at that. I will call the vote. Yes?
Thank you, Mayor Crompton, through you. I think we have a couple steps to take. We do have a motion that's on the floor to adjourn. If the mover and seconder are okay with withdrawing that motion, we can reopen discussion on, reopen consideration on the Remembrance Day motion, and we'll go from there. So if the mover and seconder are comfortable.
We've already voted on
I don't think we voted. We kind of-
It's
No, you're
not
right,
that
we
hesitant.
did, and then
Oh,
I
that's right.
went
Yeah.
Isaac, so, okay,
that. We can do it.
yeah.
You're the expert, Carly.
That's right. All eyes on Carla.
Thank you through you. I believe our live stream is still operating, so we're still technically live and meeting.
Okay.
If we reconsider the motion to adjourn and reopen the meeting,
You need 2/3 majority to reconsider a decision. Okay,
Sure.
I don't believe we voted on adjourning, so.
Yeah. Thank you
Right.
through you. I also figured that we had not taken the vote on adjournment.
I think it was interrupted
Yeah.
because Isaac
Yes.
was, yeah,
okay.
be much.
So we want to revisit that motion.
Mayor Carlton, through you, my original recommendation to have the mover and seconder withdraw the motion to adjourn would
Okay.
be the most appropriate course of action.
I see nods, so we're good there. Okay,
So we'll need a motion to reconsider the Remembrance Day attendance. So 2/3 vote to reopen discussion on that motion, please.
okay. Can I have a mover and a second? Councillor Coburn, Councillor McComb. All in favor? Okay, so we are reconsidering that one.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Carlton. for your-
It's not really this difficult.
So the motion that was passed does read that the following attendance at Remembrance Day ceremonies be approved. 1, Shallow Lake Hepworth Councillor Isaac Schuldeis. 2, Owen Sound Mayor Sue Carlton. 3, Tara, Deputy Mayor Graham Pringle. And 4, Wyerton, which was our CAO who has agreed to swap with Councillor McComb. So if council is comfortable with putting that motion back on the floor, we'll need a mover and seconder to reconsider.
Let me just see if this is Chatsworth coming through. Nope. Somebody about high water levels. We'll read that later.
So just a mover and seconder to
Okay.
put that motion on.
Councillor Winters, Deputy Mayor Pringle. Any discussion?
We'll have a vote to amend the motion to replace the attendance. So
So that's what we're voting on now.
we're voting on an amendment to that original motion. So we reconsidered the motion in its original form. So the motion in its original form is currently on the floor. We need an amendment to replace CAO Thompson with Councillor McComb. So I'm looking for a mover and seconder to amend to swap out 4 for attendance at the Wyerton ceremony.
So Rick and
I'm so
Grant are
confused.
moving on the first motion, but we need an amendment to that motion that they're voting on. So if I can have 2 other people
Sure.
for Councillor Schuldeis.
I didn't know it was this complicated.
No, I didn't either. I need 1 other, Councillor McComb. And if there's no further discussion, I will call the vote on the amended motion. All in favor? That is carried. And now we're back to the main motion, and I will call the vote on that one. All in favor? That is carried. Now can we adjourn? Councillor Goldberg, Councillor Day, all in favor? Good, we're done. We're